everyone, and welcome to episode 120 of the Holding Court podcast. Today, I'll share why I'm a little heated this morning. We'll discuss a recent road trip, Justin frantically tracking an Amazon package, and a candle that caused a stir. All coming up right now on Holding Court. Video podcasts are difficult for me because I'm not someone that gets ready every day at all. I need to wash my hair. Shocker. I'm working with a little bit of a rat tail this morning. So it's I miss the audio days. I love the video. I think it's so much better for the podcast as a whole. For me, it's fine for you. You don't really, you get dressed and ready every day. But it's like a little bit of like a waterfall rat tail. People that are audio only are missing out on this spectacle. That is my little bun today.
I think it's difficult for you because you're such a perfectionist, like control, like
freak.
And so every little thing you're like, oh, the book is a little slanted behind me. Oh, there's something in the background. Oh, my hair's sticking out to my right. Oh, my hair's sticking out to my left. And I'm just like, let's roll. Like, okay. Well, I have a wrinkle in my forehead.
One of us has to make sure everything is running smoothly.
We are who we are. Okay.
This is a perfect segue. I'm glad you brought up that I'm a control freak because we had a little bit of an emotional morning, a difficult morning in the Turner household today here. And normally I would like to think that you're team Kourt for these sorts of things.
I'm still team Kourt. I'm always team Kourt.
But you tried to tone me down a little bit this morning. So I am, as I discussed last week, the proud commissioner of 3 fantasy football leagues. Is it too many? Probably. Can't change it now. I think I just love fantasy football so much, and I want to open people's minds up to the world of fantasy football that probably never would normally do it. And so I started one, well, for our friends that I've had, I think it's the 12th year, one with like my OG kind of baseball wives along the way. And then I started one here with the Red Sox wives, and it's fun. I love it. I'm super into it. It is a little tricky, like I said last week, because you kind of end up with a lot of players on. Sometimes you have a guy on your team, and then in another league you're against him. So it gets interesting. But I take it pretty seriously because I am a woman of integrity. I am a rule follower, and I like things to go how I like them to go. While I can't control the outcome of the game, the players' injuries, results, all of that, what I can promise is that I am going to lay out a foundation and a rule book, and it's very simple. Run your own team and set your lineup. I don't like when someone gives up and they don't let their team go at full strength. They forget to switch someone out. Someone's a late scratch and you're not checking it. And I don't like, especially, our friends league, I don't really know, like someone could be going online and like doing those, whatever. I don't think it's ever really been an issue for the most part. We've had some people in the past that have like asked a partner for help. I don't love it. It's your team. I think you should be doing it yourself. And I take it very, very, very seriously in my women's leagues and my wives' leagues because I feel like fantasy football, you think of dudes, right? You think like, oh, it's a guy's thing. And I'm like, hello, here I am on the forefront of women empowerment, blazing a new trail, proving that we can do this. And what is my pet peeve? Women going to their husbands and saying, I need help. I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing. None of us know what we're doing, but we're going to pretend because we don't want to set women back hundreds of years. And we can do this. We can do this.
Can you just tell the story of what happened already?
The league is named, well, one of my leagues is a league of their own. And it's perfect. We can do this. We can do this in a male-dominated fantasy football world. We can do it. Yeah, there was someone that was picked up. It was a curious waiver claim. And you had mentioned that you would talk to this person and they were raving about this player. And I said, well, that's interesting because I'm not going to give names. Not going to do that. But I said, oh, it's interesting because this wife happened to get this player. So I wrote in the group chat and I said, is this funny to you?
Yep.
Do you find this funny? I wrote in the group chat and I just said, interesting that your husband had a boner for this player. And then I didn't say that. I just said, it's interesting that your husband was like raving about this player. And then he suddenly ends up on your team. And then I did put a GIF that was someone with a big cheat button and like a cartoon hand, like slamming on like the cheat button to like choose to cheat. And we've had issues in the past. And you basically just said, why do you do this every year? If you get so mad, why do you do it every year?
Yeah.
I don't have that answer.
I
might be done.
Why do you try to get to 12 teams, which you know is going to include girls that have never played before?
We're at 10.
And then, or whatever. And then you get mad if something comes up. And again, I get it. Like, the guys shouldn't be logged in on their team. The guys shouldn't be going on their phone, making waiver claims or proposing trades or whatever. Like, I don't agree with that. But if they're just talking about fantasy football and they say, hey, this guy had an awesome weekend, you should see if he's available. Like, that happens all the time, everywhere you go, in normal conversations. Or if you turn on the TV and you put on fantasy football and Matthew Berry's on there saying, hey, here's your top 5 sleepers to pick up. Like, what's the difference? Like,
okay, the difference.
They're not running the team.
The difference
They're making a suggestion.
We are stepping into a role that is primarily held by men. And men are free. You guys are free to go and look at Matthew Berry, who was on the Holding Court podcast a couple of years ago. Yep. Lovely to have him. You can go online. You can look at scoring. There's a plethora of information available. And that is what people do when they play fantasy football. My issue lies when you go to your partner and say, I don't know what I'm doing. Help me. There's information online. I don't like the shortcut aspect. And I'm not like mad. I mean, I'm mad. I'm pretty upset. Not going to lie. But I'm not like, I just want, and I'm joking about like setting women back and like that we're like blazing trails. Like, obviously that's like me being sarcastic. I know it's not that serious. It's fantasy football. My point is like, we're capable of doing this. And I actually think it'll be way effing cooler if one of the guys on your team or one of your old teammates is like, oh my God, I literally saw my wife like watching NFL Network the other day. And she was like on some website, like looking up a player, or she like saw her player in a game, was like, oh my God, I just got 6. Like, that's what's cool to me. Just like having them get into it and not just take the easy way and be like, hey, help me. Who should I get? Like, let me win. That's not the point.
I agree. But I also think that like,
I take it too seriously. I get it.
No, but the way you look at it, right? If you take your OG Wives League, for example, this is what, year 4, 3 of some of them playing fantasy football?
Yeah, years.
And in year 1 of them, some of these wives were drafting Matt Barkley instead of Saquon Barkley because they thought they just saw Barkley. And now in
the mishap heard around the world.
Now in year 4,
it was not great.
There's like
they want to bid on waiver claims.
Yeah, there's like, full blown conversations about changing the waiver wire. So my point is like you have to remember this is year 12 for you, and this is year 1 for some of these girls. So if you're like bombarding them with, oh, you can't do this, you're cheating, you can't talk to your husband, like no, you have to do it all on your own. Like, you might be turning them off to where they're never going to make it to year 4.
Some people can't cut it, baby.
But you also have to understand, like, you're creating this league, which is now leading to a conversation between this player and his wife to talk about football, which they probably never would have had before. So, like, you're accomplishing it. You're accomplishing what you're trying to do, but you're just trying to micromanage the league because you don't like that she claimed a player. That's my point. It's like, okay, you made your point. Like, guys, stay out of the league. Like, don't be doing the stuff. But like conversations, I think should be okay because you're literally promoting football. Like, you're promoting the game. Like, she would never ask about a player before if she wasn't in fantasy football.
It's the issue of like, is it the conversation or is it here, log into my team and do it? Because again, that's what's happened in the past.
I
agree. Found out that someone was added as a co-manager.
I agree. I don't think that this player should be on the phone doing stuff for her. But
that's what
if
we
they're
don't
having
know.
a conversation, if they're having a conversation about a player, especially when this player is on their hometown team where they're from, and they're like, wow, this guy's had 2 really good weeks and no one even knows who this guy is, this is what I'm assuming happened, you should see if he's available. And then she's like, oh, okay. And she opens her app and she goes to the players and she goes to the thing and she makes her own claim. Like, I'm 100% okay with that.
Okay.
But he shouldn't be doing it. And my point is, you're sparking conversation about football, and she's learning about football, and that's
is
the goal
she
here.
though, or is it?
Well,
we don't know.
I mean, we don't know. She never would have known this name if it wasn't for this fantasy league. I can promise you that.
Yeah, I do get heated and I get worked up, and I see red. And I've seen you get worked up over fantasy stuff before too. So let's not act like I'm the only crazy person out there. And much like the title of last week's episode of the podcast, no one cares about your fantasy football team.
I have one. It's actually a hot topic right now that really upset me this week, and I was pissed in the clubhouse.
Okay, wow.
I was going again in the big Red Sox league. Okay. I was playing against Travis Kelce. All of a sudden, Taylor Swift decides to show up to a freaking Kansas City game, and apparently they're dating or whatever. Who cares? But I lost by 6 points because Patrick Mahomes, while they were up 40, said, we have to get Kelce a touchdown because Taylor Swift's in the house.
You think as a Bears
And I lost
fan?
by 6 points because up 40, they threw a pass to Kelce so Taylor Swift could get TV time to cheer in the box with his mom. And I lost by 6, and that was a 8-point play. So Taylor Swift, like, go sing your music, sing your songs.
Oh, no,
like,
don't do the stick to singing.
I didn't say stick to singing, but, like, come on. We all know you're an Eagles fan. We've seen all the pictures.
That was my issue.
All of a sudden, you're head to toe, Kansas City Chiefs. You're chest bumping when Travis scores and puts the Chiefs up by 50. Like, what are we doing?
I had the issue. I didn't love the chest bump. Up 41. I think it was but again, I'm a Bears fan, so this was a difficult week. It's now a full year since the Bears have won a game.
Yeah.
I think it's actually a year and 5 days, but.
Who's counting?
Me. I am counting. And then I think okay, if she is a wag, I'm a White Sox fan and I fully wear your team stuff. I didn't wear it for a minute. But she just rolled in there and was like, okay,
Is she
Eagles.
A wag? Is she a wag?
No, but if they end up dating, I mean, I think it's 100% publicity. I didn't see that little clip video. I didn't see any chemistry, but what do I know? Maybe they're private people. Who knows? I think it's weird. I even he was on his podcast today, talking about her and how wonderful, does she like that? I don't know. I feel like she doesn't openly discuss relationships. She's pretty private, but maybe she's switching gears in once. Not that she dates high profile men.
Right.
But I think oh my gosh, I'm going to go on my podcast the next morning and recap my date with her. I don't know if she's loving that, but maybe, right. I don't know.
Right. I have one more thing on that.
Okay.
This was a hot topic in the clubhouse yesterday.
Okay. I love all these hot topics.
So apparently after the game in Kansas City, they decided to go to a restaurant.
Oh, I did hear this.
And Taylor supposedly bought every single person's meal in the restaurant, but the caveat was they had to box up their stuff and leave so her and Travis could have the restaurant to themselves.
Okay, I didn't hear that. I heard that he rented out the place for the
night. No. There were people in there, and the people in there had to skedaddle.
Oh.
And I'm there were guys in there that were like, oh, that'd be so cool. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift bought your meal. And I'm like, fuck that. Ooh. Are you kidding me? No one goes to dinner anymore. Everyone's like, oh, I can order in, I can cook, whatever. If you make the decision to go to dinner at a restaurant, I want to sit down and eat my dinner. I don't want to get bought out and boxed up and sent
bought out, boxed up,
and sent packing.
I'd be calling TMZ.
Because Taylor Swift wants a one-on-one dinner with Travis Kelce.
No, it was his entire team. I heard it.
Was it the whole team?
Yeah, I heard he rented out the place. I heard they had like a whole dance party. She was sitting on his lap. It was a whole deal.
Well, we're getting conflicted information then.
I'm gonna check my sources because normally my finger is on the pulse of pop culture, and you serving me new information, I don't know how to handle it. I go to that what is it? Du Moi. I'm probably saying it wrong.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's this Instagram. I think
it's like all fact.
TMZ I trust because TMZ obviously run by Harvey. He's a lawyer. He like rarely will post something if it's not confirmed.
Right.
Especially like a celebrity passes away. Like that's where I go because like they rarely will do it. There was that like one a couple months ago, but they retracted it. There is this website, DEUXMOI, and it is people in the industry. That's how I'm pronouncing it, but it's probably wrong. And I think it started kind of during COVID, and the girl's anonymous. People figured out her identity now because it's been 3 years, but she gets tips, like people that work in the industry, like managers, agents, and they send all of this stuff anonymously. And then she does like spotted of like, oh, this person was eating at Carbone, this person was eating at Nobu, this person was spotted here. And like you send in little photos, but it's like a lot of it's like a lot of real time. Like, oh my God, I'm sitting next to this person at this restaurant right now, and she'll post it. But she gets a lot of insight from people. And so I'm going to have to check that one over TMZ.
Yeah. I mean, it was a hot topic in the clubhouse. Like, would you be stoked that Taylor Swift bought your meal, or would you be pissed that Well,
I wouldn't be celebrating anything. I was drowning in my sorrows after that loss.
Well, I understand. You had different circumstances than everyone else in that restaurant, probably.
Yeah. I'm on a whole different page. Sticking with football, you guys had a little themed flight.
Right.
In honor of the season. And normally it's different. You're on a new team. A lot of, I think, in LA, you would run a lot of the kind of like team events and sort of thing. So there was a football themed flight you had?
Yeah. So our last trip to Toronto, we decided, it was kind of last minute. We had like 5 days notice, that, hey, everyone, it's football season. We're going to wear football jerseys up to Toronto. And everyone on the plane, you have to wear a football jersey, no questions asked. Well, all my football jerseys, for some reason, I didn't bring any of I have 500 football jerseys, it feels like. I didn't bring any of them out here. So I was like, all right, whatever. I'm going to order a couple jerseys. And I actually had already ordered a Dolphins jersey that I had been wanting to get like 5 days prior to this. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. Like my jersey's going to come in and I'll have it to wear up to Toronto. Well, the jersey was not coming in. It said it was going to be delivered a few days after. So I'm like, crap, okay, I got to go on Amazon and order some next day jerseys. And
fully authentic.
But like I went on Amazon and it was actually kind of funny and I thought it was cool. I was like, oh my God, there's all these movie character football jerseys.
Yeah.
And so there was like a Shane Falco, there was a Bobby Boucher, there was a Tom Hanks, Alabama, or Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Why am I blanking?
Forrest Gump?
Forrest Gump, there you go. Forrest
Ray
Gump.
Finkel?
Yeah, there's a Ray Finkel. There was a Riggins. So I was like, oh my God, this is sick. So I literally ordered 6 jerseys. There was a Paul Crew, the Meme Machine, from Longest Yard. So I ordered 6 of these because I was like, okay, surely someone's going to have a hard time like getting a jersey. I'll have 6 of them in case someone needs them. And that way everyone can have one on the thing. So I order it on, I don't know when we left, like a Wednesday. I ordered it on like Sunday night, 2-day Prime. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'll have an extra day. All of a sudden it says your shipment's delayed. It's going to come Wednesday before 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's all right because we play at 7 on Wednesday. So as long as it gets there by 10, I'll be fine. And then Wednesday morning, a pipe breaks at Target right next to Fenway. And so our clubhouse manager is getting all these emails from like UPS, USPS, Amazon, all these delivery companies. And they're like, sorry, your packages won't be coming today. We have to push it tomorrow. A pipe broke in front of Target. And I was like, there's 400 other roads to get to Fenway.
Oh, it rocked that area.
I got stuck all the deliveries.
I got stuck in it. And there was a point where I pulled up to the police officer and I said, can you just tell me which way to go through? Because I have to get there.
Right.
I think I want to say I had maybe like my luggage for the trip or something. Yeah. And it's like, I went through like the normal route and then I went around. I'm like on the navigation, like bopping around street to street to street, doing U-turns, and I had to go all the way around. And then by the time I got around, they were like had cleared that road. I was like, oh, perfect. Great. I really got the lay of the land though, but it really messed everything up. It was wild. Like I sat in it for like 45 minutes going to the game.
Yeah. So now it's 4:00 on Wednesday. I have no jerseys. They're not coming. And I'm like, crap, what do I do? And there was a couple other guys who were in the same predicament.
Yeah.
I think Connor Wong and Cutter Crawford had ordered jerseys and they weren't coming.
Yeah.
And so I call Kourt and I'm like, hey, I need a huge favor. I need you to find me a jersey. And she's like, okay. She starts calling everywhere. There's like nothing.
There is something.
There's Patriots jerseys.
Yes.
There's Patriots jerseys, but I wanted a Dolphins jersey or something else.
And you know those stores that used to be, I think there's still one in like Sherman Oaks in LA, but it's called like sport, I don't know, like
whatever, yeah. And they have everything.
Like for the love of the game or something. Like it's like literally those random like Sports Shack.
Right.
And they have every single jersey.
Not here.
Those like it's like a lost art. You used to be able to pop in there and find, and even I feel like Dick's Sporting Goods used to carry like random like popular jerseys.
Right.
Which they should. And it was nothing. I was calling like Lid's Locker Room, Foot Locker, Dick's Sporting Goods. There was like a Boston sports store that was closed, like Macy's. I feel like even has like that sports section, kind of like, I don't know, it's normally like big around the holidays, or like Kohl's. I'm calling everybody.
Well, it's sad now because e-commerce is just so big that all these stores, the brick and mortars, they don't carry stock of anything because they get stuck with it. So
yeah.
I mean, that's a whole nother story.
So I spent my whole afternoon being a glorified assistant for this football jersey.
And she texted me at like 5:45.
And I don't like not pulling something off.
Right.
Like it really frustrates me when I can't.
She texted me at like 5:45 and she's like, look, like the football thing is not happening. No one has jerseys.
It's a bust. She
says, but I found referee jerseys.
Costumes with a whistle.
With the whistle, with the hat, with the shirt. Like, I can get these referee costumes. Would you Postmate it or you Instacarted them?
Instacart has a Spirit Halloween.
Right. So she Instacarts 3 referee costumes, gets them to the house.
No, my Instacarter at one point, because I said I need 3 of them, and sizing is always like, you never know what sizing is going to be if you ever like order clothes for delivery from Instacart. And so I said I'd prefer like just give me like 3 extra large. If they don't have that, like go to a large or a double X. And then at one point he messaged me and says, okay, I don't see the 3rd one, but they do have a blind referee costume. I'm like, we're not doing that. We don't
What's the difference between a blind referee costume and a regular referee costume? Is it a pair of sunglasses?
I honestly, truly think it was dark, like
and a cane and a walking cane
and a white tip cane.
Oh my goodness!
And I'm like, we're not doing that. We're not going to mock someone's. That would have not went over well. We can all think what we want about bad calls, but we were not going to. So I was like, and he goes, I think it's the same thing. It just has sunglasses. And I'm like, can we just stick to it? Right. He goes, okay, I found your 3rd one. He's like, I'm on my way. I'm like, perfect.
So
maybe that's actually what I got stuck in when I was bringing the costume. No, it was later in the day.
That was later. Yeah. So you get the costumes and then you're like, okay, you need black pants, you need black shoes, and you go in my closet. You grab like 5 pairs of different black pants.
Everybody's got choices.
Put a pair of black shoes in a bag, and you come and you deliver them to Fenway at like 9:00 or whatever time it was.
I like tucked him in the bag because right where you guys go in, like fans can wait. And I'm like,
right,
it's going to be the weirdest delivery.
And here's where,
but then the parking lot guys were like, oh my God, Justin's been out here on his phone, like everything going crazy.
Well, here's where the Courtney touch comes in, because these jerseys were folded up in a costume bag. and she got the oversized bottle of Downy Wrinkle Release and put it in the bag. So
I'd already steamed them and it didn't work.
We can spray the jerseys and unwrinkle them before we wear them. It was just first class PA, personal assistant service.
That's how I feel
all along. And so everyone had their football jerseys on, and Connor, and Cutter had our referee jerseys with our whistles. We took yellow wristbands that we had left over from childhood cancer awareness, and we wore them on our wrist kind of as our penalty flags.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it all worked out. But
I will say my pet peeve is athlete arrival shots, and you see the guys that have like the bullets, like the wrinkle stars,
6 point.
Yes, and like the line, like the fold line. I'm like, come on. I might not be like a sharp dresser. I may wear athleisure like majority of the days, but like polish it up here, fellas. Especially on Fashion Friday that you guys do. And you see like the straight out of the like the shirt, like where it's on the like cardboard and has a little plastic clips. Like you can just tell when it was yanked right off of that.
Yeah. You got mad at me the other day.
Clean it up.
Sunday when I wore my because my Dolphins, all these jerseys, by the way, showed up on Friday.
Oh, we have all. If anyone needs, I'll be doing a massive Amazon return.
We left. I think we left Wednesday night or Thursday night. The jerseys showed up Friday, so
they were here.
I have 6 movie jerseys. I got my Dolphins jersey, and then the first Sunday back, I wore it to the field. Dolphins scored 70, by the way. But you were pissed at me because it had the wrinkles in it. And you're like, you're not going to the field with the wrinkles in your jersey.
Well, I thought you made 2 mistakes.
And I was like, I got to go. Like,
1, the wrinkles. 2, wearing a Dolphins jersey in Boston.
Everyone knows. It's no secret.
I know.
Everyone listens to this podcast and they know that I'm a Dolphins fan, okay?
We
might have a special guest.
You got to tread lightly,
Look who showed up.
The control freak in me is just fully panicking on this now.
Ring me.
Well, that was a road trip. I think, was that the one you went and then, that was going to
Toronto and then down to Texas.
Yeah. But before that, I went on a nice little drive. What did I skip? Were you in Kansas City?
Yeah.
Where am I? What week is it? I don't know. I actually cannot believe it's the last week of the regular season. It's just wild to me. And I don't know how it all happened. It's been lovely. It's been a whirlwind, but I don't know where I'm at half the time. I wake up, I'm sure you do, because this is your life, and I have to take a minute and realize where I'm at. And it even happened to me this morning. I woke up and I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm like, I'm in my room. Okay, great. We're back home. But I did a road trip. I went home for a couple days. I think when you went to Kansas City, I could be making that up. One of those trips. And I flew back home.
It was Kansas City.
Had the pups, and then got my sister. We finished up the 5K packages and shipped them all out from Indiana. So hopefully everyone got theirs. There's like one that I need to send out that got mixed up from in person and virtual, but everyone makes mistakes. And drove back and wanted to take a nice route through to Buffalo to try the very first buffalo wings at Anchor Bar, the inventor of the buffalo wing, and where it all started, and see Niagara Falls. And so it's like I think a 13-hour drive, but the messed up part was we took a slight detour for whatever it was. Like we stopped one night. We agreed like, okay, we can do it in 2. We could probably have done it in 1 day. We've done that many hours before, but kind of wanted to not rush and take our time. But from the Airbnb that we rented, it took us on like this almost like back kind of route, not the main route. And I had this realization of like, our whole plan was to go to Anchor Bar and Niagara Falls. And we were just going, it was a very Dumb and Dumber moment of like, you drove a third of the way across the country in the wrong direction. That was what I had. And you even had me like on my location. You're like, oh no, you're going away from it.
I was like, you passed the exit.
Yeah. So we had this moment of, do we drive like the hour and a half like kind of up and out of diagonal, retrack, or do we just keep going? And I think it took like 2 seconds to make the decision of like, we're going. So we went up and tried the buffalo wings. They were phenomenal. Not being a dairy person at the moment, or not eating dairy at the time. I think I miss out on like that ranch because, you know, I love the hot wings. So I tried it with like, what was it? Maybe like Thousand Island. I kind of did on some just to get like the cooling effect. They were really good. Like they came out and they were like steaming and fresh and
They're
wonderful.
crispy. They're so crispy.
Yes, that was the thing. Like they had the little crunch. It was empty. Like I think we drove through on like a Tuesday around like 1 o'clock, maybe like 12 or 1. And everyone's like, oh, you have to wait for so long. You have to wait for so long. But it honestly wasn't bad at all. Like we got in there, sat at the bar, ordered, and it was great. We also had potato salad, which I still think about that potato salad. It was phenomenal. I think my sister we ended up, they wouldn't let us do the like 6 of 1, 6, like you had to do them in like dozens or 10 or whatever. So it was like I got hot and then she got medium or something like that. But they were so good. And then we went into this candle shop that we saw. And this is going to be one of those stories where it's like not funny because you weren't there, but like just try to like recreate it with your friends and think about it. We see this like sign for a candle shop and we're like, of course, like I'm down for a souvenir, like give me all the merch, get me the t-shirts, whatever. And we walk in this candle shop and it is, if you walk by, what is that store in the mall? That's like Lush.
Oh, with the bath bombs
and remember like
stuff?
Body Shop, I think used to be one that smelled like orange spree.
Bath and
it was
Body
like,
Works.
yeah. So like you walk in and it's like, you're just like slapped fully in the face of like scents, like overwhelming scents. And it's busy. Like it's this candle outlet, whatever. And it's made locally. I'm like walking around the store and I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a candle for me. I'll get a candle for you. My sister wanted to get one. And then I was going to get one for Bryn, the dog mother. Can't say dog sitter. She gets very mad.
The godmother.
Godmother of the dogs.
There you go.
The dog mama.
There you go.
And her dad, Danny. So I'm like, okay, perfect. There was like a special, like, I don't know. They always get you, you know, it's like you want to, and they're like, well, you can get 5 for 25. And you're like, okay, well, I only have 2, but sure, let me pick 3 more that I didn't want to get. Right. And so I pick mine. I think I picked like a lavender one, and it wasn't like the fake lavender smell. It was like really, really nice. My sister got, I don't know, patchouli. I don't know. What would you guess that she got? Something earthy and spiritual. Right. And I pick out, I think I just pick like lavender and like whatever, like a fall scent, maybe like a apple crisp or something like that. And I go up to the check stand. And there's this, like, I'm assuming she's like in high school or like college kid working at the counter. And this was a full, genuine question. And I said, which I should have asked this before I picked everyone's scents. And I just said, what's the top seller? Like, what's the big candle here? And she like, she didn't like get excited like I thought she would be and be like, oh my gosh, it is apple crisp. Like every year, like, you know, like she just kind of like was like, our top scent. Let me check our sales. Check your sales. Like you're ringing everyone up. Like what do you ring up more? Like in my head, I'm thinking like this is like a very simple question. Like, come on, you would know. And she like turns around and she like goes to like a desk behind her. And she's like, it's almost like she had a spreadsheet, like a full Excel spreadsheet. She like turns around and she's like, top. And then she looks to the worker, like I'm assuming her manager, she was older. And she's like looking at her like, bail me out. And like, she's not getting any, like her manager is like stocking something in a box, like doesn't even acknowledge her. So she like goes back to her spreadsheet and she like goes down like a line on the spreadsheet and like goes across and like turns to me and she's like, our top seller right now is, the Smell My Nuts candle. And I'm like trying to make, and she like just delivered. She wasn't like, oh, we have this like gag gift. Like people love this one. It's called Smell Your Nuts, but it's actually like macadamia nut and like banana bread. Like it was like a nutty fall scent, I'm assuming. But she like didn't like, she wasn't like, oh, do you have friends that have a good sense of humor? Do I have the candle for you? 3 for $15, the Smell My Nuts collection. She just was like, it's the Smell My Nuts. And I'm like, okay. It reminded me of like the Sweaty Balls, like SNL skit, like where she's just like very like deadpan on it.
Like dry, yeah.
I'm like, oh, cool. So I like obviously have to break the tension. I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so funny. Like I have to get that. Like, let me go get one of those. I'm like, where is that at? And she was like, oh, it's over by the Smell My Nuts and the Love Your Melons display. And I like, sure enough, look over and there's a full display with like merch. Like they have sweatshirts, like with squirrels on them, like holding nuts, and like all these candles like done in like this tower that you would like see at an event, and like this full thing. Like she didn't need a spreadsheet,
right?
Like she knew that scent.
It's right there. There's a whole display.
She knew that's the money maker, and she was holding out on me. And I went over there and I just grabbed them up for everyone, and it smells really good. It's actually a 3-tier, like a layer. So it's like you have like the banana nut bread, the like macadamia nut, and then like something else. But it's like you get the 3 different nuts to smell. Yeah. It's fantastic.
It smells good. You lit it the other day.
It's fantastic. Yeah. And I don't know why I mean, I don't know. She was younger, but I wanted her to just sell that thing. I'm like, she's clearly not getting commission on the Smell Your Nuts collection, because she just was like saying it as a formality. It's very interesting.
You think when she took that job, she was like, dang, at some point, someone's going to ask me.
I'm going to have to talk about nuts.
For a suggestion or for our bestseller, and I'm going to have to find the courage deep down inside me to say, smell my nuts.
Yes, because I used to think when I was in high school and girls were talking about like what jobs they were going to get, and like I chose like Eddie Bauer and like all, like a very like I was afraid to work at Subway because I didn't want to say foot long. That's a true story.
That makes sense.
But like all these girls like, I'm applying at Subway. I'm like, but you have to say foot long. So like I get it. I can empathize with the not wanting to say smell my nuts.
Right.
Because you're actually saying the phrase like smell my nuts.
Well, you got the melon one too, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I got that one for Carolyn. She's got our Boston family is dialed in with all these scents. I'm like, I hope they have a good sense of humor.
Right.
Because you never know how someone's going to take it. But
you just don't know.
It's filling their home with a beautiful fall aroma.
At least it's a good aroma. Yeah.
100%. I think, where do we go from there? I think we just have
I
to
think this is a good place to wrap it up after the smell your nuts story.
Yeah, we can't. It can only go down. So that's going to do it for today's episode. A friendly reminder, we are now on YouTube, so you can watch us, and always subscribe so you don't miss an episode, and rate and review. We love to read them. We love to see them. Thanks for listening. And do you have anything to say?
Yeah, you're gonna have to tag our special guest appearance from Rigby today. So
oh my gosh,
he jumped up. He heard YouTube and he jumped up.
I know, he's yearning for his fame. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
See ya.
Bye.
Bum 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 bum.